Hi there, thanks very much for joining our training. If you're looking to generate leads for your business with a Facebook Messenger bot, then you have come to the right place. There's a ton of stuff we're going to cover in this training. We don't want to waste any time, so we're going to dive right into it. And here's what we'll cover. We split this training up into 5 different parts. Part 1, we're going to talk about why you would want to build a chatbot for your business in the first place, what the key features and benefits of doing that are. Part 2, we're going to go over a few different ways to build a bot, and we're going to select one way of doing that that does not require any coding skills, and we're going to use that for the rest of the training. That's going to lead us right into part 3, which is a step-by-step tutorial on building a lead generation bot. So we're going to start with nothing, and at the end of the training, the goal is to let you launch a chatbot for your business on the Facebook Messenger platform. Part 4, there are a few things to watch out for when you're building a bot. We're going to cover those. A couple of those things have to do with the platform we're going to use to build the bot. A couple of those things have to do with Messenger itself. We just don't want you to get hung up on anything. So we're going to go over those. And then the last thing we're going to do once you've got your bot built, you want people to interact with it. So we're going to talk about different ways of driving traffic to your bot. So what this training is and what it isn't. First and foremost, we designed this training for business owners and managers. It's really meant for people who do not have any coding skills whatsoever. And it's not a fake live webinar. This training is pre-recorded. You can come back here anytime to reference it. We don't have any plans to take it down. We may update it over time. As you probably know, things change really quickly. So we may update it as things do change. A couple other things, if you have any comments or questions about the training, there are 2 things you can do. The first thing you can do is leave a comment on this page below the video down in the comment section. The second thing you can do is join our Facebook group. There's a button right below the video to do that. It's a brand new group. It's small. We would love to see you in there, but over time we want to grow it and cover ways that chatbots can really help to grow businesses and help them market themselves. All right. This is a little bit about us. One thing is a digital marketing company. We work with businesses of all different shapes and sizes, from small local businesses right up to major consumer brands like the ones you see on the left there. And we really focus on doing 3 things. We focus on driving traffic, we focus on generating leads, and we focus on increasing sales. All in the digital world, we do that using a number of different tools, but that's us in a nutshell. So that's it for the intro. We're going to dive right into the training now. All right, part 1. Why would you want to build a chatbot for your business in the first place? The answer is really simple. The answer is that is probably where your target audience is already spending a ton of time. If you look at the orange line on this chart, it represents the big 4 messaging apps. So Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, which is also a Facebook product, WeChat, and Viber. So the number of global monthly active users on those 4 platforms combined is somewhere around 3.7 billion or 3.8 billion people. And they've actually overtaken the main social networking apps like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So you get more monthly active users on messaging apps than you do on social networking apps. And how does that break down to Messenger specifically? This is a really recent stat from September of 2017. There are over 1.3 billion global monthly active users on the Messenger platform. So obviously just a massive target audience for you to tap into there. If that hasn't convinced you, then maybe some of the stats on the next slide here will. There's over 2 billion messages being sent every month between businesses and their users on the Messenger platform. There's already over 100,000 active bots on the Messenger platform. There are 20 million active Facebook pages that use Messenger every month to communicate with their users. 56% of people have indicated that they would rather message a business than call a customer service number. And about the same number of people have said they're more likely to shop with a business if they can message that business directly. So some really great proof points for why Messenger makes a lot of sense and how a chatbot can kind of help you take advantage of some of these numbers. But there's also other advantages for your business. So from an operational perspective, just time and money, chatbots can automate some of the low-level tasks that you probably have to deal with every day. If you do any prospecting in your business, like cold calling or cold emailing, we're not going to say that a chatbot can replace that, but it can certainly make a dent in that and save you a bunch of time. And that'll let you focus on the high-value tasks in your business, like closing leads and making more sales. The other big thing is that once it's built, the bot is always on. It's sitting there waiting to converse with potential leads. So unlike a landing page or a sales funnel, A bot is conversational. It can actually have a conversation with users when you're sleeping, when you're offline, and it's free. The method we're going to show you is free, so it's really a no-brainer. There's no reason not to at least try it. The other great thing about chatbots, they're excellent at converting mobile traffic. So if you've ever run Facebook ads for your business, you've probably found that most of that traffic is coming from mobile devices. Bots are really good at converting that. The reason is that a chatbot is just a natural extension of how people are using their phones and tablets every single day. They're texting, they're chatting, so they're really using those messaging platforms all the time, and a chatbot's just kind of a natural extension of that. So great way to convert your target audience. Hopefully that's convinced you why Messenger is a great platform and why chatbots are a great thing to try out for your business. And now we're going to dive right into the second part of the presentation, which is the different ways that you can build a chatbot. Part 2 is a fairly short section. We're just going to cover different ways to build a chatbot. And even though we're going to pick one way that requires no coding skills whatsoever, we thought it would be a good idea to give you an overview of the bot building ecosystem and some of the technologies that are out there that are very powerful. So the first way to build a bot, you can build a chatbot from scratch. What this would mean on the Facebook platform is building a Facebook app. You'd be using the Facebook Messenger API. You'd be hosting your bot on a web app hosting service such as Heroku, and you'd be using a couple of languages like Python and JavaScript to communicate between those pieces and to pull the entire experience together. So the advantages of something like this, it's very powerful. You have at your disposal all of the protocols and methods that are available in those platforms. And at the same time, that's also the disadvantage. Because it is powerful and complex, you do need some heavy-duty coding skills to pull that all together and make it all work. So we don't want to obviously go anywhere near that today. The second method is to use what's called an NLP framework or API. NLP stands for natural language processing, and that gives the bot its intelligence. That's what enables the bot to respond appropriately when a user either types something in to a chatbot or says something to a voice-activated bot. It enables the bot to respond in a way that has meaning and basically gives the right answer back to the user. So, as an example, if I'm here in my office and I have a voice-activated bot and I say, it's really hot in here, turn the temperature down 2 degrees. If my bot's listening for that, it can then do two things. It can communicate to the thermostat and tell the thermostat to lower the temperature by 2 degrees. And it can also respond to me and say, okay, I've heard you. I'm going to lower the temperature by 2 degrees. So two big platforms for the NLP frameworks are Dialogflow, which is now owned by Google, and wit.ai, which is owned by Facebook. I'll just show you very quickly Dialogflow. The idea behind Dialogflow is that you build your bot once, and then you can deploy it on a number of different platforms. So you can build text-based chatbots. You can build voice-activated bots for environments like Google Home. You can build a Facebook Messenger chatbot here as well. And there's a whole bunch of other platforms that you can launch your bot on. So as an example that we talked about with turning my office temperature down 2 degrees, here's an example of a smart home bot that control devices in your home. So there's kind of 10 pages of commands in here that you can give to this bot, and it can respond appropriately. So over here on the left, for example, if I say turn the office heating down 2 degrees, my bot can respond back to me and say, okay, I'm turning the heat down by 2 degrees. And then it can also communicate to the thermostat to turn the temperature down. So fairly complex, and we're not going to go into any of that today. But wanted to cover those things because the third method that we're using, which is a software as a service product, actually brings in some of the complexity that those two methods offer, but it hides that complexity in a very visual interface. So some of these great features that I showed you are there, but you don't see them there. You don't have to deal with the back end at all. It's just a very simple, easy to use front end experience. So two of the big platforms that you see compared most often right now are ManyChat and Chatfuel. There are a whole bunch of other products out there that do similar things, but these are kind of the two that have risen to the top right now, at least, and you see them compared a lot. We're going to use Chatfuel today as the tool. to build our lead generation chatbot. And the reason we picked that is because we've used it a bunch of times before. It's a great product. It's pretty straightforward to use. Again, you don't need any coding skills at all. It's free. There is an upgrade option. I think for most small businesses, you may not even need to move beyond the free tier, but you can if you want to, and it starts at $30 a month if you want to move up. So it's not a whole ton of money to do that either. There are some limitations to products like this, and we'll cover those as we go through it, and also in a later section about things to watch out for. But certainly, what we're going to do today, build a lead generation chatbot. It's more than powerful enough to do what we need it to do. So that gives you an overview of different ways to build a bot. And moving forward, we're going to be using ChatFuel. All right, right into part 3, building a lead generation chatbot step by step. Let's get right into it. This part we had to include somewhere and figured it made the most sense to do it here. Need to talk about your bot personality, your voice, your tone, whatever you want to call it. A couple kind of key things to keep in mind here. You want to make it engaging and conversational. You want it to feel really natural when people are conversing. You're not trying to trick them into thinking that they're not conversing with a bot. We're going to be really upfront and tell people that this is a bot that they're conversing with. But it's got to feel like a natural, engaging conversation to draw them in. And if you've ever done kind of any writing for your business, you're going to have a good sense of what the voice for your business is. And you want to stick to that. And again, you just want to make it conversational. But at the same time, because this is lead generation, we really want to move people through our funnel quickly and get them out the other side as qualified leads. So you want to make sure that you're prioritizing the efficiency of getting people through your funnel as quickly as you can. You want to prioritize that over fun. It can be really, I think you'll find when you get into it, it can be really easy to kind of go down a path of making things fun and engaging. So you just need to be really clear with people. Focus on clarity. So this is the third point is really obvious, but you want to make sure that the personality of your bot is reflecting your brand or your product or your service, whatever it is that you're advertising or marketing. So a law firm bot is going to be really different than an ice cream shop bot, very different personality. So you just need to keep that in mind. If you haven't done any copywriting before, if you're not really great at writing, you need to really kind of study that, I think, before you get into your bot, because this is basically a sales funnel that you're leading people through. And if you're looking for help, there's tons of resources out there. You can look at stuff by Dan Kennedy, but one of my favorites is Frank Kern. You can go to his website. You can sign up for his free stuff. There's tons of great free stuff on there. And if you just go and read his about page, there's a really great example of how you kind of move people through a conversation. He's obviously the master at it. It's just so well written. It's engaging. It's natural. It's conversational. It's fun. So really great resource to look into. So you can also do a Google search for bot personality. There's been a ton of stuff written on it. I don't really know if you need to read any of it, but maybe it's worth looking at for you. So a couple of other things. Some accounts and tools you'll need before we get started. On the Facebook side, you need your personal Facebook account. You need a Facebook page for your business you need to be an admin of that page from your personal account, so make sure that's set up. On the Chatfuel side, go to chatfuel.com, sign up for a free account. You'll actually sign in using your Facebook credentials. So once you get that set up, that's all great. The way that we're going to collect leads in this tutorial, we're going to have Chatfuel actually email the leads to us. So it's really the simplest way to do it. May not be the most efficient way if you're collecting a ton of leads, but to get started, there's no sense in building more complexity into this than we need to until you know that it's working. If you know it's working, you can do some more things. You can, and here's some more advanced lead collection. You can use tools like Zapier to send your leads right into a Google Sheets document for you, so they're nice, organized. You can use Zapier to connect to a tool like MailChimp. You can use the JSON export, which is kind of a data exchange format that's available in Chatfuel. Talk to the MailChimp 3 API. That's a little more complicated. We're actually working on a project right now that's using JSON, and we're pushing the leads out of Chatfuel into a Rails app that we built that's just automatically emailing people from that Rails app. So there's a whole bunch of different, more complex ways you can do it. But today, let's just focus on having Chatfuel send us some leads via email to start. What are the other things we need to do? I can't stress enough how important it is that you write a script or a flow or a user flow, a user experience, whatever you want to call it, for your bot before you get started. It's critically important to do this. The reason is that you're going to get lost really quickly in the Chatfuel platform if you haven't done this. So we've done this here for you, so you don't need to write this out yourself. You can kind of do a screen cap of this and print it if you want to follow along. But again, there's no real visual way in Chatfuel of looking at the flow of your bot like this. And it's really important that you do this so as you're building it, you know what you've done, you know what you have left to do. You kind of want to move through this in a logical fashion. So really important to do that. Two things I wanted to point out here. The first thing at the top here is this messenger greeting, and the thing below that is a welcome message. Those sound like really similar things. They kind of are, but at the same time, they're not. And the reason they're both in there is because the messenger greeting is something we actually do on our Facebook page. And the welcome message and everything else is something that we do on Chatfuel. And the reason I name them this way is because this is how they're named. Facebook calls the thing that they do a messenger greeting. Chatfuel calls kind of their first step in building a bot, the welcome message. So we're just going to stick with the language that the platforms are using. So let's take a look at this messenger greeting in Facebook. So on the left, you'll see this is what people are going to see in the bot if you do not add a messenger greeting. It's going to use the about information from your Facebook page, and I think that's a 255 character text area. So Facebook will just put that in there if you do not set a greeting. But on the right, you can see if you do set a greeting, you can actually start the conversation with people before they engage with your bot. So in this case, we just say, hi, I'm the Grow Landscapes chatbot. Tap Get Started below to start a conversation with me. And it's really important you know that this Get Started button at the bottom, people have to tap that button before the conversation starts, before they actually start engaging with the chatbot. So it's important to do that. So let's set a greeting. Let's flip over to Facebook and do that. So just want to show you really quickly, this is a fictitious company that we set up for the purposes of this training, and we're going to use this throughout the rest of the tutorial. It's called Grow Landscapes. I just said they're a company in Boulder, Colorado. There's not really too much on here. I just I set this up with a test Facebook account I use for various things. I created this one post because this is the offer or lead magnet we're going to use as we create the lead generation chatbot. And quite honestly, I know really nothing about landscape companies. We've never done any work for a landscape company, so I don't even know really why I picked a landscape company, but I did, and this is the offer we're going with. So let's figure out how to change the greeting on our Facebook page so that people will see something that we've customized over here. So let's go here. We're going to click on settings on our Facebook page. We're going to go into the messaging tab. We're going to scroll down. And right here, you see it says show a messenger greeting. That may be turned off if you've never turned that on before, which is fine. So just turn it on, click change. And then you can enter your language here. You can do whatever you want to do. I'm for Grow Landscapes. Click the Get Started button below to start chatting with me. ... Okay, you can do things like add personalization. So if you want to say hi, hi Robert, you can put someone's first name in there. We're actually going to use the personalization in the chatbot, so we're actually not going to do it right here. Let's save that. That's going to be our message. And now that that's done, when people first engage with our bot, they're actually going to see what we have over here on the right. So it's a message with a greeting. Okay. Okay, here we are in the Chatfuel interface. Just wanted to show you a few things before we get into it. When you set up a new account, I'm pretty sure that they throw you right into this blank bot here, and that's fine, but I want to show you something else first. If you click this arrow button in the top left, this will take you out to the dashboard, and the dashboard is where if you have more than one bot, the bots are all collected in this one spot. We're going to click the gear icon here. We're going to name this Grow Landscapes. That's the name of our bot. We'll click done. We can connect to our Facebook page here, but Let's just click on the name Grow Landscapes. Takes us back into that blank bot. And up here in the top right, we're going to click Connect to Facebook. What happens then is it throws us into this configure menu here. And at the top are all the pages that we have connected to our Facebook account. And there's Grow Landscapes at the top. I'm going to click Connect to Page. Chatfield is going to do a little thinking, connect to Facebook, and there we go. Our bot is now published on our Grow Landscapes Facebook page. We're gonna test it in a minute, but not right now. So we're now published. Let's go back to the Automate menu, which is up here at the top on the left. And let me take you through a few elements of the Chatfield interface. So in this Automate section, which is where we're going to spend most of our time, there are three things you need to know about. There are blocks, there are cards, and there are plugins. Blocks you can find right here. There's two blocks that Chatfield provides for you that you can't delete, you can't get rid of these. The first is the welcome message, which if you remember back in our flow here, it's the first thing we're going to create. That's the first thing people see after they click the Get Started button from that messenger greeting. Can't delete this. Second block here is the default answer block. We're going to get to that actually toward the end of the training and show you something special you can do with that. So blocks are basically the building blocks. So you basically use a bunch of blocks to build your chatbot. And so what goes inside of a block? What are these pieces that are inside of a block? These are cards. All these things that you see here inside this block are cards. Those are found down at the bottom of the screen here. There's all different types of cards. You can add a typing card. That just shows people that little typing animation, makes the conversation feel a little bit more natural. Feels like your bot is thinking as it's typing, which is kind of nice. There's others. There's quick reply. We're not going to use that. There's an image card here. I can add an image at any time. Very simple to do if I want to add an image to one of my blocks. And there's a couple others. We'll get to these as we start building our bot. And then at the very end here is this plus sign. If I click that, that shows me the plugins. There's a whole bunch of them in here. We're going to use a couple of them only as we build out our lead generation bot. And we'll get to that a little bit later on as well. So that's what cards, blocks, and plugins are. And then over on the left here, there's a few different menu items. So under Automate, we have Setup AI. This is a really important section that we're going to get to fairly soon. There's a broadcast section. We're actually not going to get too heavily into the broadcast section. It's a pretty big section unto itself, and is a little more than what we want to deal with for building this lead generation chatbot. Under Configure, there's a number of things we can do. This is where we publish our bot. Here we show we're connected to this Grow Landscapes Facebook page. We scroll down. There's something called the persistent menu. We're going to get to that a little bit later. We're going to customize that. There's the Pro plan here. This is where you can upgrade and pay for Chatfield if you choose to do so. You can click on this View Pricing button here, and that gives you a slider. It's going to ask you how many users you're expecting to reach in a month, and you can obviously go all the way up to 100,000 here. But even if you've got 65,000, you're going to be spending $1,675 a month. But that's probably a really good problem to have at that point. But if you're just starting out and you want to upgrade, you can spend $30 a month, and let's see, you can get like 1,000 users a month for that. So that's great. That actually removes the Chatfield branding from the persistent menu that we'll show you later. There's some other things you can do in this section that we're actually not gonna get into either. Back on the left here, there's a Grow menu. This is all about driving traffic to your bot. We cover these items that are shown in here, as well as a whole bunch of other ways that you can drive traffic to your bot, both paid traffic and free traffic. So we'll get to that. And then the last item here is Analyze. So this is an analytics tool. You need at least 3 users before you can get in here and look at things. But one of the really useful things that we'll talk about here is what are the inputs people are using? What are people typing when they're interacting with our bot? So people are going to be typing in email addresses, their phone numbers when we ask them for their contact information, but people type in all kinds of different things. And if there's some that are not recognized by the AI, which is that section here, what we're going to get to later, they're going to show up down here, and then you can actually create an AI rule for those later on. So if any of this is confusing, hopefully we're gonna clarify it as we go through the training. So that's just an overview of the Chatbot interface. There's one more thing we're going to do in a few minutes. We're going to test the chatbot, but first, let's take a look at this welcome message. We're actually going to get rid of everything that's in here right now because we want to start from scratch and build our own welcome message with custom content. Okay, so the very first item here is a text block. Actually, I'm going to delete this one too and just add a blank one so you can kind of see. This is just a blank text block, and I've written some copy already. I'm just going to paste it in here. So this is the very first thing that people see again after they've clicked that Get Started button for the messenger greeting. And you see this little area highlighted in purple here. This is a really important thing. It lets you personalize the communication that your chatbot is having with someone. The way we do that is we type 2 curly braces. That'll spawn this little pop-up menu beside the curly braces, and then we can choose something to insert into the conversation. So I'm just going to pick the first thing on this list, which is probably the most common thing, which is first name. That's just going to insert someone's first name into the conversation when they start conversing, which is a really nice way to personalize things. So here I've got hi first name. Nice to meet you. I'm the Grow Landscape chatbot. I go right into the offer here. You can spend more time talking about something else, obviously, if you want to. I kind of talk about what we do as part of that offer, a little more of a sales message, and then the promotion ends at the end of the month. Are you interested? So this copy, we didn't write this to win any awards or something, anything like that. We really just wanted to get you through the interface and get you through building a lead generation chatbot. So you're obviously going to be customizing this for your own business anyway. If we just jump back to this bot flow, we're now at this point, we've got our welcome message written. We're now at the point that we want people to either say yes, they're interested, or they're going to ask for more info. So how do we do that? What we want to avoid as much as we can is having people type things into our chatbot and asking questions or saying hello, whatever it may be. There's not really any way you're going to be able to get around that completely. People are going to do that anyway, but we can work around it a bit by adding buttons and asking people to click on buttons. So here we're saying this promotion ends at the end of the month. Are you interested? We want to say, first thing, we give them a button that says yes, they are interested. If they are interested, we're going to send them to a capture lead block, which has not been created yet. We're going to create that. So we can type it in here and hit the enter key. And right over here on the left, that has created a blank capture lead block for us that we'll fill in later, which is nice. The second button we're going to give people is that more info. If they want to get more info on the software, they can do that. And that's going to take them to the more info block, which again, we have not created. So click to create a more info block. And there we go. So there's our first button, yes. That's going to take people to the capture lead block. More info is going to take people to the more info block. So why don't we do this? Why don't we click test this chatbot? I'll take you over to mobile messenger and I'll show you what it looks like on my phone. So you just click this button once, and I'm going to go over to mobile messenger right now. Okay, here we are in mobile messenger. I'm not going to see that messenger greeting from Facebook because I've already tested this once before. So it's going to take me right in. Here's my inbox. I've just got this one message. And you can see the pumpkin down at the bottom there. I actually happen to be recording this on Halloween. So this is how Messenger customized the interface for Halloween. So normally you wouldn't see that, but this is my inbox. I'm going to click on this, and here's my welcome message. So, and look right at the bottom there, those are those two buttons I created, the yes button and the more info button. I'm not going to tap on them right now because I don't have any content in there. Let's go over to my Facebook page, and I'll just show you how this looks on Facebook. And there we go right there. Here's my my chat interface in my Facebook page. There's my welcome message. There's my yes button. and my More Info button. And I'm also going to show you what this looks like in the Messenger web app. And the way to do that, let's just go back to Chatfield for one sec. Right at the top here, I'm going to hover over this little link here. I'm going to copy it to my clipboard. This long number, if you have customized your username on your Facebook page, you're going to see your username here instead of all these numbers. I didn't do that for this Facebook page, so that's why I'm getting these numbers, but you just copy this link to your clipboard. I'm in Messenger here. You can paste that into a browser window. It's going to actually just kind of open right back up to where I was. I was already in Messenger. And see, here's my that same welcome message in the Messenger web app for desktop computers. And there's my yes button and my more info button. So just a few ways that you can test your chatbot or take a look at your chatbot as you're testing it. I'm going to try to bounce between mobile Messenger and the Facebook page as I test things. I'll do it once in a while as we kind of move through the experience. Okay, so now we're back in the Chatfield interface here. The next things we're going to do, we're going to customize the capture lead block and the more info block. First, we're going to do the more info block. So this is the block that people are going to if they said they wanted more information on our offer, and that's over here in this group of content blocks. Now, before we do that, there are a couple blocks again that Chatfield has thrown in here for us. You can take a look at those, but I'm actually going to go in to all of these and I'm going to delete the block here because I'm not going to use it. Product offer, I'm not going to use either. I'm going to do something similar, but I'll show you what I'm going to do. Show video, I'm not going to do. Okay, so I've gotten rid of those. Now we're just left with our more info and our capture lead block. And with the more info block, people have asked for more info, so that's exactly what we're going to give them. I'm going to add a text card and paste some text in here that I've got prepared. Let's add a quick little typing animation here before we get into the next message part. And this is the first time we're going to use a plugin. Chatfield actually recently redesigned their interface and moved this. This used to be in the card section here, but now it's in the plugin menu. It's called a list. So click on that plus sign, click on list, and that gives us something that looks like this. We can add an image here. I'm just going to add an image, and I'm going to say 20% off our best-selling sprinkler system. I can add a subtitle or description here, a URL and a button. I'm not actually going to do that. And then this creates a series of items that I can add to this list. So I'm going to say the first item I'm going to talk about is this pump that's part of the offer. And again, because I don't know a whole ton about landscaping, I don't know if that's exactly how people would sell this, but this is how I'm going to sell it. So I'm going to add an image, which is there. I'm going to add a little subtitle in here, which I've pasted. And I'm just going to pause this and I'm going to finish filling this out, and then I'll come back to it once I've done filling it out. So, okay, and we're back. I just finished filling out this list here. So I've added 3 items to the list. And before we keep going, I'm just going to add a text card here. And I'm going to see if people are interested in taking us up on the offer now, after I've given them that extra detail. So what do you think? First name, would you like the full details? And going to give them a couple options here. And I'm going to say, are you interested? Can we give the full details? Yes, please. That's going to send them over to that capture lead block, which we haven't filled out yet, but we've got over here on the left. And if people are not interested, they can say not right now, which is fine. And in that case, we don't want to lose these people just because they're not interested in our offer. We want to subscribe them, make them subscribers, and see if we can upsell them over time. So we're going to create this subscribe block, and we'll show you how to fill that out. soon as well. Here's our more info section. Why don't we flip over to Mobile Messenger and take a quick look at how this looks. So again, just click this Test This Chatbot button up in the right, and I'm going to flip over to Mobile Messenger. Back in Mobile Messenger, here's that incredible welcome message I wrote, and our two buttons at the bottom. We just finished that more info block, so I'm going to tap on more info and see what I get. So here's that initial text card I put in, and there's my beautiful list with my images and product descriptions in there. And what do you think? Would you like the full details? Yes, please. Not right now. So remember, yes, please, tapping that sends them over to that capture lead block. We haven't created that yet. And not right now is going to send them to the subscribe block. So we're going to head back over to Chatfuel and continue on. So I lied. I said we're going to go to the Chatfuel interface. We're actually just going to come back here for one quick sec to see where we're at. So we've got our messenger greeting done, our welcome message done, more info's done. Now we're going to move on to this subscribe block below more info. And the reason we're doing that is in the more info block, if you remember, this button people said they're not interested in our offer. So we haven't managed to convince them to buy, but we don't want to lose them. I mentioned before, we want to keep them around. We want to get them on our subscriber list if we can, so that we can send them some messages over time. We're going to do that in the subscribe block. And in here, we're just going to add a text card. Going to paste some copy in here. So no problem, first name. Would you like to subscribe to our updates? We have a couple of other great offers happening right now. And if we go back here, what are their options? The two options are yes, they will subscribe, or no, they will not subscribe. So let's give them those options right here. Just say yes, sure, and we'll call a new block. We'll call it yes, subscribe. Sorry, yes, subscribe. Okay, and then we'll add no thanks, and this will be no subscribe. Okay, so we kind of want to avoid any open-ended areas. We always want to give people an option for something to do, and ideally, if we can't drive them back into the sales funnel to capture their lead info, we want to be able to take them down another path and keep them interested before they abandon the bot. So from here, we want to get people into yes, subscribe, or the no subscribe block. We'll go over to yes, subscribe. Let's fill this one out. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to add, the first thing we're going to do, it's something new. It's a user attribute. So we're going to set up a user attribute. That's in the plugins menu. And what is this all about? A user attributes lets you set a value for someone who has interacted with your chatbot. So you're basically segmenting them or putting them into a group of people. We're going to create a group here called subscribers, or we'll call this subscribed. And the value for that, this is the people that said yes, they will subscribe. We'll call this yes, subscribe. All right, so as soon as people get to this block, they've told us yes, they're going to subscribe. So now we've added them to the subscriber group, or the subscriber attribute has been applied to them. And then the next thing we're going to do is, let's add a little text block here, and we can say, I'm going to copy this in here. Great, thanks. We'll send you updates on some special stuff we have going on over here. Before you go, please share me with a friend. And what we want to do, we want to get people to share our bot with someone who might also be interested in our offer or in subscribing. So we're going to add a share button here, and that's going to send people over to the share block that we're going to create later. Okay, so that's how that piece works. Now, we've got these people in this yes, subscribe group. And what do we want to do now? So they signed up, they've opted in. We have permission now to send them communications. And the way we're going to do that is down here in the cards, it's called to sequence. So let's add that. So we're going to subscribe people to a sequence. We're actually just going to use the sample sequence that Chatfuel has already built in here for us. We can name this anything we want. We're going to change this to subscriber subscriber, no, it's too long, subscribe sequence. And this is made up of a number of different messages that go out to those users over a period of time. So you can click the timing here. You can choose when you want to send those to people. So the first one's going to go out 20 minutes from the time that they become a subscriber. The next one's going to go out after a day, then after a day, then after 2 days, another one. So this is a great way to upsell people if you've got other offers. You want to move people down a different path if they haven't taken you up on your first offer. So this is like exactly the same as an email sequence, but we're just doing it over Messenger. So let's subscribe them to this subscribe sequence that we've got built. So that's what's going to happen. And you can go in here and Chatfuel's already provided content in here, and you can customize this content to be whatever you want it to be. And you can do the same thing with all the others as well. So we're not going to go into that in any more detail. We're going to move on to the no subscribe sequence, no subscribe block, and what happens if people have told us they're not really interested in subscribing to us right now. So let's go into that. So in no subscribe, what do we want to do? We just want to say, no problem, we get it, we're not going to bug you anymore. But would you consider sharing me with someone you know? Again, we want to get shared as much as we can. So you never know. Even though someone doesn't want to subscribe, they don't want our offer, maybe they're willing to share us. Maybe it's a good time to go back. Actually, you know what, before we do that, let's add this share card, the share block rather. So when we test the chatbot, we can kind of go through this whole sequence and I can show you how sharing actually works here. Click on the share block. It's empty right now. We're going to use a new card that we've never used before. It's the gallery card. In the gallery card, the first thing we see is the ability to upload an image. I'm just going to add this logo. When you do that, you get this little pop-up. It asks you if you want horizontal or square images. I'm going to go for square image. And I'm not going to change this in any way. You can crop it if you want. I'm not going to. It looks good like that. I'll click done. We want to just say, let's put our offer in here. 20% off, our best selling, this month only. I'm not going to type a subdescription in here, but you can go ahead and type whatever you need to. Okay, I'm just going to put some Greek in here for that. And then down here, when you add a button to a gallery card, you have the share option here. We're going to select that. So when people click share, it's going to share this card. And when we test the bot, I'll show you exactly how that works. But let's just do one more thing here. Let's add a text block and move it up above here. So we give people direction on what we want them to do. So we're just going to say, great, thanks. Just tap the share button below to share me. Okay. Add a quick typing card here as well, just to make it look and feel a little more natural. Make that fairly short. Okay, so that's what people are going to see. Let's take a look at this now. So just want to double check and yes, subscribe. People have subscribed, we're going to ask them to share. No subscribe, that's fine. We're going to ask them to share. Okay, so let's go take a look at how the share functionality and subscribe functionality works when we test the bot. And I think this time we're going to do it on the Facebook page. I'm going to click test this chatbot. I'm going to flip over here to my Facebook page. There's my welcome message. Are you interested? Give me more info. So here's my more info. What do I think? Do I want the full details? Not right now. Not quite ready to buy. That's okay. No problem. You want to subscribe to our updates? If I want to subscribe, I'll click yes, sure. So again, that's added me now to the subscriber attribute. So I am a subscriber. And we say we're going to send you updates on special stuff we have going on over here. So now we're going to send that sequence to them. However, that sequence gets filled out. That's going to get sent to them over the course of a couple days. And before you go, will you share me with a friend? Yes, I will share you. I'm actually going to do this on mobile messenger as well, so you can kind of see how sharing works over there. Okay, so that's kind of how that works. If I had said, Do you want the full detail, or do you want to subscribe? And I'd said, no, thanks. I'll show you how that looks. Okay, got it. We won't bug you with any more messages. Would you consider sharing me with someone you know? I'll click share. Great, thanks. Just tap the share button below to share me. So there we go. There's our offer. Click share. So let me flip over to Mobile Messenger and give you a sense of how the share functionality works when we get over there. Okay, here we are over in Mobile Messenger, and the reason I switched over here is because I was using a test account before, and I don't have any friends at that test account, so I wanted to show you how the share thing works if you do have some friends. And so this is my personal account here. So I'm just going to go through the experience a little bit. Would you like the full details? I'm going to say no, not right now. We have a couple of other. Would you want to subscribe? I'm going to say no, thanks. Okay, got it. We won't bug you. Would you consider sharing? I'm going to click share. So, and here's my call to action to share. So tap on the share button below, which I'll do here. And then I get my friend list, and I can scroll through here. I can search for people, and I can just tap on send to share that with anybody. And okay, so let's head back to ChatFuel. Actually, just before we get back to ChatFuel, let's go through our bot flow and see where we're at. We essentially have everything done on the left-hand side of the screen now, which is great. It's gone by fairly quickly. Now we're going to focus on capturing lead info, and then we'll take a look at the default message toward the end. And so let's go back to ChatFuel. One thing before we get into capturing the lead, I wanted to show you how to organize your content a little bit better in here. And you see this this little link here, add sequencer group. This is going to let us organize our blocks. So it just makes things a little bit easier to go through and to look at as we're editing things or adding things. So I'm going to create a new group here, and I'm going to call this the subscribe. I'm just going to call it subscribe group. And then anything to do with subscribe, I'm just going to click and drag down here. I've noticed in ChatFuel sometimes as I click and drag things, they end up jumping right back up. So you might find things are a little bit jumpy sometimes, so it keeps doing that. I don't know why it does that. Here's my subscribe group. I've got these 3 subscribe blocks in it. Let's add a new one. I'm just going to call this share. I'm going to put that share thing on its own in here. So if I ever want to come back in here and edit that, I know where it's at. It's pretty easy to get to. And then let's create a group for capture lead because it's got a couple things in it. Capture lead. Add this guy in here. And we're also going to add the thank you in here. And we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so we are in our capture lead block here. And so people have indicated that they are interested in our offer. So first thing, let's just add a quick typing thing here. Add a text card. I'm going to paste some text in. Okay, great. Let us know. We can get in touch with you, and we'll get you all the details. What do we want to do next? We're going to go over here to plugins, and we want the user input plugin because we want people to give us their email address and their phone number so we can get that email to us. So what do we want to ask them? We want to say, what's your best email address? Question mark. We want to validate this as an email. And what that means is that we want to ensure that people are giving us a proper, an address in a proper email format. If they don't do that, the chatbot's going to recognize that it's not a proper email format. And it will give them an error message saying, hey, that doesn't look like an email address. Please try again. So we're going to save this email address that people give us to an attribute that we're going to create. And we're just going to create an email address attribute. So every time somebody gives us an email address, it's going to go into a database basically and be stored in there as an email address that's associated with this user that's using the chatbot. We want to get their phone number as well. We're going to add a field here. What's your phone number? We want to validate this as a phone number, so numbers and dashes. There are a couple things to watch out for here, and a little later on in the training when we discuss things to watch out for, make sure you watch that to understand how the phone validation works. So we're going to call this attribute the phone number attribute. So that's going to store that info anytime anybody gives it for us. And okay, so we've asked them the questions we want to ask them. We have that info. They've input it for us. Now what do we do with it? We're going to go back to plugins. We're going to use the send email plugin. This plugin is going to send us an email. It's not going to send the user an email. It's going to send us an email with the info that they've entered. So we're going to call this is our subject line, new messenger lead. You call it whatever you want. I'm going to put my email address in here. And then the email body, I'm actually going to just paste in here because I've already prepared it. But this is the body of the email. You've got a new messenger lead, their name. We do first name. We've seen this before with the curly braces, and I'll just show you how to get last name. You type the 2 curly braces, and you can scroll in. And here's all the things you can get sent to you. So if you really want to, you can have their gender sent to you, their locale, profile pic URL, time zone, all kinds of stuff. Let's just grab their last name. And so we're going to get their name, first name, last name, email address that they gave us, which is that email attribute that's up here, their phone number, which is that phone number attribute that's up here. So that's what's going to get emailed to us. And that's exactly what we wanted from them. Let's just do one more thing here. Let's just add another little typing card in here, just for the heck of it, before we ask them to give us their info. Okay, make it nice and short. What do we want to do now? So the email is going to get sent to us. Now we want to give these people a thank you message. Hey, thank you so much. We're going to be in touch with you soon. We could do that all in this block, but let's create a new block. Let's just create a thank you block. How do we do that? There doesn't seem to be any way to get to a new block from here. So we're going to use this card here that we haven't used before. It's called go to block. So we can just redirect to a block here. So at the end of the sequence, we're going to redirect to the thank you block, which we have not created. We're going to create that next. So that put that right in here in our capture lead section over here on the left. So we've got our capture lead. We've got the thank you block. So let's go in to the thank you block and customize that. And then we'll test the whole thing and see how that works. All right, in the thank you block, what do we want to do? Since people have signed up, they've given us their lead information. Let's create an attribute for them. We're going to call this lead gen, and we're going to give this the value of a lead. So anybody that makes it to this thank you block, the only way they're going to get here is if they've gone through this capture lead block before and they've given us their email address and their phone number. So that's going to send them to this thank you block so we know they're a lead. We're going to set up a user attribute capturing them as a lead. And the reason we want to do this is because we may decide we want to send our leads a message in the next day or so, a broadcast message, like a direct message. So we just want to make sure we have them in the lead group so that we can do that. The next thing we're going to do is add a little text block here. Actually, let's add a little typing card first. Sorry, not a text block, but a text card. I say thanks, first name. We'll be in touch soon. Add another little typing card here. And then, of course, again, we want to keep people engaged as long as we can and keep them going. So let's ask them to share with a friend if they're excited about this offer. Maybe they're willing to tell their friends about it too. So call this button share me, and we're going to send them over to the share block if they do that. Okay, so that's thank you. I think we're done here. I don't think we have anything else left to do in this part. So why don't we go test the chatbot over on mobile messenger and take a look at how things are looking here. We'll go down the lead capture path this time. Okay, here I am back in Mobile Messenger, and let's just test that lead capture path that we just finished up. So here's my welcome message. I'm going to tap yes, I'm interested in the promotion. Now this is that capture lead block. Let us know how we can get in touch with you. It's asking for my email. So I'll just type in my work email here. Okay. What's my phone number? I'm actually going to type in some letters here because I want to show you how this validation works. So my bot recognized that that is not a valid phone number. It's given me an error message. It asks me to try again. So this time I'll enter my actual phone number. Okay, and now this is my thank you block. So I've been identified as a lead. Thanks, Robert. We'll be in touch soon. And then the request to share before I go. So that'll take me over to the share block if I tap that. Okay, let's just head back very quickly to our bot flow, see where we're at. We have everything finished now, except for this default message to the right. And just before we get there, I just want to very quickly show you what it looks like when you get a lead email to you. When I fill out that information there, this is what I see. This is a screen grab of an email message in my inbox. There's my subject line up at the top. And then in the body of the email, there's all that information I set up to send myself. So the name of the lead, the first name, last name, the email address with that email address that I entered, the phone number with the phone number I entered. So that's what you're going to get in your inbox when someone fills out that lead capture card, or that capture lead block rather. And that's how you can start following up with people. Okay, so let's head back over to the Chatfield dashboard and set up the default message block, which is right up here at the top. And we have not looked at this yet. So let's dive right into it. Chatfield has provided us with a few different things in here, but we're going to get rid of them. We're going to set up our own little way of doing it. The default answer is exactly what it sounds like. If your bot does not recognize an input that it's getting from a user, it will give them a default answer in response. So earlier on, I said you can add any number of buttons to your chatbot as you want to direct users down different paths, but inevitably what's going to happen is some people are going to type in questions for your chatbot or make comments to your chatbot, and your chatbot is not going to be able to recognize everything that people type in. And so if that happens, your chatbot's going to respond to them with the default answer. So that's what this is. It is very closely related to a section over here on the left called Setup AI, which we're going to get to after we finish this default answer section. So let's go and do this now. We're going to use this block, go to block, which we've used once before. And we're going to turn something on here called random, which is kind of a nice feature. And we're actually going to create 3 default answer blocks called default 1. I'm going to add another one called default 2. And another one called default 3. So that means if someone types in, gives the chatbot an input, and the bot does not recognize what that person is saying, the chatbot will randomly answer with one of these 3 blocks. So in the interface here, it's just throwing them in this group of content blocks. I'm just going to leave them in there for now. So let's go over into default block 1, and I'm just going to add a typing card here, add a text block saying, sorry, I don't know how to answer that. I haven't been programmed to chat about stuff like that. And then what I can do, I can add a button to take them back to the welcome block. That may not be an ideal place to take them. The problem is that you don't really know at what point in the bot flow somebody has entered something that your bot doesn't recognize, so it's a little hard to know exactly where to send them. Right now, we're just going to send them to the welcome message, but you can easily set up a custom block that people get sent to that if someone gets a default message, they click a button that you specify, it can take them to whatever block you want. So we're just going to do this for now. So that's default 1. Default 2, we're going to do the same thing. Really short typing block. Then a text card. Just going to copy and paste. Not going to add a button to this one. Of course I can. Default 3, same thing. Start with a typing card. And then another text card. Say, see the deal, for instance. Whatever you want to put. And this will just send them over to the welcome message as well. So just kind of wanted to give you a sense with this default answer up here, the different ways that you can handle it. So as I said, it is fairly closely related to this setup AI section over here on the left. And that is the next thing that we're going to do. Just click down here on the left to go to setup AI, and we'll go through how that works and set up a couple of new elements for our chatbot. When you get in here, Chatfield has already provided some basic things for you. What is this section all about? In this section, you can have your bot respond with specific text or a block, depending on what people have typed in. Down here at the bottom, if a user types in something and says to your bot, hi, hello, greetings, howdy, what's up? Your bot can reply with this text. And here we see this little random button that we've used before in the default answer section. So you can randomize the kind of response they're going to get. So if people type in 3 different things, maybe they'll get 3 different answers here, and you can just keep adding as many answers as you want. This hey one has an emoji rather, that didn't really come through properly. So let's find something for that. Let's copy that and paste that in here. So other things people might type in, thank you, TY, thanks. Let's just leave that for now. This top one, show me video, we're gonna get rid of that one actually, because we don't have a video to show. But what are some other things? It really depends on your business and what you're offering. Things that people might ask. But what if people say, where's your office? What if they type that in? Then we want to respond with some text. We give them our address and we tell them how they can reach us by phone. Okay, so that's one example. What about if I'm operating a retail store and people say, when are you open? Comma. Oops. The bot's going to reply with this text. We're open Monday to Friday from 9 to 5. And another one. Hours. That's actually really the same thing. And I can actually I can kind of add multiple things in one section here to give the same response. So hopefully that makes sense for how AI works. And you can fill this up with as many different AI rules as you want. Really depends on your business. And earlier on, I mentioned in the Analyze section over here on the left, this is really important. You can go in here, and as you scroll down, you can see the section called User Inputs Not Recognized by AI. There aren't any here because the bot's never really been exposed to anybody. But the more people type things into your bot, those things, if your bot does not recognize them and your bot delivers the default answer to people, those things are going to show up in here. It'll tell you what the phrase is and the number of times people have entered that phrase. And obviously, if you see things showing up a lot in here, you just want to go back to the Setup AI section and add a rule for that so you can take care of custom messaging, which is a really great thing. We're going to add one more AI rule, and it's not going to make a whole lot of sense to you right now because we're going to use it later on in the training when we talk about how to drive traffic to your bot. But I'm going to enter sprinkler, and instead of the bot replying with text in this case, I'm going to have the bot reply with a block, and I'm just going to have it respond with the welcome message block. I could set up a custom block for it to respond with, but This is fine right now, and you'll see the example again in the driving traffic to your bot section later on in the training, how we're going to use the sprinkler message. So don't get confused about it now. Just remember this and keep it in mind. So let's go back to our bot flow and see what's going on here. And look at that. We have got the entire thing finished. Congratulations if you've been following along and building this in ChatFuel. As I've been doing it, you have got a chatbot ready to go and run for your business, which is just fantastic. So let's move on from here. This is part 4, what to watch out for. There are a couple things you need to be aware of when you're building a chatbot, particularly for Messenger, and when you're using ChatFuel. So just want to go over those things really quickly. First thing to know is that the phone number validation in ChatFuel is not optimized for 10-digit phone numbers, and that probably makes a lot of sense because it's not just people in North America that are using ChatFuel. So all you really need to do to get validated is enter a number and a dash, and then that's going to accept your phone number as a valid phone number. So if you are in North America and you're doing this and you do get a lead like this, don't be surprised. People can enter kind of whatever they want in the phone number field. But, it's probably pretty unlikely because if people are that interested in your offer, they're probably going to give you their information. And if they don't, if they're just messing in with you, well, whatever. Can't do anything about that. Next thing, really important. This happened when we were testing a bot we were working on not too long ago. The Messenger platform has built-in natural language processing, and it can trigger some unexpected results sometimes. We weren't really aware that this was going to happen until we started testing, but we put a model year of a car into a bot, and what Messenger did, it was meant to look like the message on the left here, so you can click to call somebody at a dealer to find out more about an offer, or if you're not ready to go for the offer, you can go to another path. What happened was Messenger automatically created this create an appointment button in the message. And the reason it did that is it recognized 2018 as a date, and it figured, well, there's a date there, somebody might want to create an appointment for this. So just be aware that if you put any kind of language around dates, so, next Thursday at 2 p.m., things like that, Messenger may pick that up and try to create an appointment for you. We found this didn't happen all the time, and we weren't really sure why it did happen sometimes and not others, but it can happen. So you might want to stay away from putting dates in there because obviously it really messes up the user flow and creates a super confusing situation. Next thing to watch out for is that your bot's greeting text does not display on the Messenger web app. So remember at the very beginning we created that welcome message, the Messenger greeting in our Facebook page. So on the left here, this is what it looks like in the Messenger mobile app. In the middle, you see it on your Facebook page. If someone chats with on your Facebook page, you see it. But if people go to messenger.com on their computer and want to start a conversation with you, there's no Messenger greeting that shows up. There's just a blank screen and a get started button at the bottom, and that's really confusing. I think not a lot of people are really going to look down right at the bottom of the screen and know exactly what to do right away. So just to be aware that that can happen as well. The other thing that's really important to know is that Facebook has specific policies around how you can message your users, sending broadcasts. So in Chatfuel, they're called broadcasts. If someone interacts with your bot, you're allowed within 24 hours of that interaction to send them a message, kind of like a direct message if they've interacted with your bot. You only have a 24-hour window to do that. After that 24-hour window, so you could send multiple messages in that 24-hour window if you want to, if you really want to make people angry. You can do that. But after that 24-hour window, you can only send one additional message to follow up. So after that 24-hour window is closed, one additional message. Might be a little confusing, but the other thing to keep in mind is if you want to broadcast a sequence of messages to people in Messenger outside of the 24-hour window, you first have to explicitly ask them for permission. They have to opt in. So remember when we were going through a flow and we asked people to subscribe? So that is people opting in. So now we have permission to broadcast messages to those people anytime we want because they have given us permission to do so until they opt out. So you also want to be really up front, and you want to give people a really straightforward way to opt out, to unsubscribe. And the way you do that is every time you send them a message, you tell them if you want to stop receiving messages, just type stop. They'll type stop, and that will actually send them to a block that you have to create in your chatbot, create a stop block, and that will mark them as unsubscribers. So really important thing to do. And that's it for this section. Just wanted to point out a few things you should be aware of. Part 5, driving traffic to your bot. So we've got the bot built, it's all working. Now we need people to see it, so we've got to drive some traffic there. There's a few ways we're going to go over how to do that. Some of them are paid, some of them are free, but we're not going to spend a ton of time on this because this is getting quite long. So the first thing, let's add a share link to Messenger's persistent menu. The persistent menu is this area right at the bottom of Mobile Messenger, and you see we've got Restart Bot and Create a Bot on Chatfuel. Those are menu items that you can tap on, and those will take you to various places. Let's go over to the Chatfuel interface and take a look at how we can customize this. So we're back in Chatfuel. On the left here, you want to click on the Configure tab in the left navigation, and right here is this persistent menu area, and you can see there's that Restart Bot menu item, and then there's this Create a Bot on Chatfuel menu item. If you click Hide this, if you want to get rid of that, what you actually have to do is upgrade to the Pro plan. So if you upgrade, it's going to hide that Create a Bot on Chatfuel menu item for you. But we're just going to leave that for now. We're going to get rid of the Restart Bot menu item, and we're going to add our own. We're going to call it, let's call it Share This Bot. And we want to send people here to the share link. So if people are engaging with the bot, we want to get them to share it with their friends, obviously. So let's do that. Let's click on Test This Chatbot, and we'll head over to Mobile Messenger again to take a look at what that looks like. Here we are back in Mobile Messenger, and take a look at the bottom. The menu down here, I've got Share This Bot, and we still got Create a Bot on Chatfuel. So I'm just going to tap on Share This Bot to see what happens. There's our share card, or our share block rather. So that gives people an opportunity to share right from the persistent menu. Let's take a look at number 2. There's a couple of paid advertising options here. For Facebook ads, you can do a click to messenger ad or an acquire user from comments ad. We're not gonna do the acquire user from comments ad because it's a little more complicated, takes a little more time. But I'm just going to show you really quickly the click to messenger ad. I'm not going to go over kind of the setup of the Facebook ads interface if you don't know it, sorry. But just want to take you very quickly through what we're doing here. So we set up a campaign. This is our ad set, and we're running a traffic campaign. Where do we want to drive our traffic? We're going to select Messenger here. Haven't really created any targeting or anything just for the purposes of this, but we're specifying only mobile device types rather than everything. We don't want to target people on the desktop, and we're kind of picking all the selections that are available to us there. So that's the ad set. And when we go over into the ad itself, a couple things to note here. We're actually going to scroll down to message setup, and also in the preview window over here, we're going to go to Messenger preview area. So this is what an ad's going to look like in Messenger when people see it. So I've got my kind of little blurb of intro text here. Again, not award-winning copy by any means. I've uploaded my image. I've got a message title, 20% off my premium in-ground sprinkler system. I could add a subtitle here if I want as well, but I'm not going to right now. I just kind of want to show you this. So what are the customer actions we can do here? So I'm pretty sure this defaults to suggested replies, but we actually don't want to do that. We want to select buttons, and we want to pick a button text. I'm just going to say chat now, and we don't want to open a website. We want to pick this option, which is send a post back. And what that means is that we are going to send people to a specific block in our Chatbot Flow. And the way we do that is we say block name, colon, welcome message. So we want to send people to that very first screen. So you can preview this when you set it up. There's a little preview. You can preview it in Messenger. We're not going to go through that right now. But that's basically how you do it. So don't get too confused by this postback and payload thing. All you're really doing is saying block name and what the block name you want to send people to when they click the button in your ad. Okay, so that's the click to messenger ad in Facebook. Okay, the third thing on our list here, create a send message post on your Facebook page. We're actually going to start in Chatfuel. And if you remember back, we're in the setup AI section here. If you remember back when we were telling the bot how we wanted it to respond when people type in specific things into the chatbot, the last thing that I had done is typed in sprinkler here. And if someone types in sprinkler to the chatbot is going to reply to them by displaying the welcome message. So that's where we start with this. Now I'm going to flip over to the Facebook page for Grow Landscape. So we're going to continue with this part there. This is a post. This is a send message post. And take a look at what it's got to. It looks like a regular post. The way we do that is we go under Event Products up here. We're going to select Get People to Message Your Business. And that's going to give us a post that looks like this. We're going to fill in these text fields. We can upload a different image, which is what I did. So a couple things here. The first text area, we want to make sure that we're giving people a really clear call to action for what we want them to do. We want them to tap on the send message button. And then the other thing that's really important to pay attention to is in this headline area, we want them to type something into the chat window so our chatbot's going to respond. And lo and behold, we want them to type in sprinkler, which we just set up the AI for. So let's take a look at how this looks over on Mobile Messenger. So here I am in Mobile Messenger. Here's that post I just looked at. I'm going to click on send message. See what it does here. Oh, look at that. It takes me right in. There's my post. So tap send message. I've already done that. Interested, just type sprinkler into the chat window. I'm going to type in sprinkler down here and see what that does. Look at that. It sent us right to our welcome message, which is exactly what we wanted it to do. So you can obviously set up a specific block in your chatbot to send people to for something like this. It doesn't have to be the welcome message. It can really be any block you want it to, but just another way to drive traffic to your bot from your Facebook page. Let's take a look at number 5 on the list here, set up messenger discovery. There's a couple ways you can do this. I'll show you both. The first one is in Chatfuel. You go to Chatfuel, go down to the grow link on the left-hand side. Come on. There it is. So it's right at the very top of this page, actually. Submit your bot to the messenger discovery section. The messenger discovery section is detailed a little more on the Facebook page, so we'll show it when we get over there. Basically, you just click here to submit the form, and that actually links you over to Facebook to submit the form. The other way you can do it is right from your Facebook page, go into your settings for your Facebook page, go to Messenger Platform, scroll down here, and it's under this Discover Settings area here. You can set it up here. It'll describe what it is, discovers a new section Messenger, where people can browse and find bots, nearby places and businesses to message. So you probably want to do that. It's not going to cost you anything, and you might get discovered that way. So not a bad thing to get a little more traffic over to your bot. So number 6 on our list here, get your messenger code in Facebook. I'm going to show you where to find that in your Facebook page, and then how to use it in Messenger. So let's go over to the Facebook page. I'm actually in the inbox here, and I had actually planned all this out, and then the day before I recorded, Facebook changed the user interface, so it's a little bit different, but you can still find it. It's not really obvious where to find your messenger code in the new interface, but if you click this question mark up at the top here, it says welcome to your new inbox. We're going to say use previous version, so it's actually going to load the previous version of of the inbox. And then once we're in the previous version, once that's loaded, I'm going to click down here on this eye, and there's my messenger code right there. So I can actually download different size versions of this, and depending on what you want to do with it, the big version you can probably get away with printing that up to a certain size. You'll have to test the resolutions, but say you're at a trade show or a conference and you want someone to scan your code and start a conversation with your chatbot. That's maybe a way that you could use it. So I'm going to switch over to mobile messenger now to show you how you scan the code. Okay, took me a few minutes to figure out how I was gonna record my phone, recording my screen, recording the messenger code, but here it is. So I'm gonna scan it over on the left there. Let's see. Sometimes takes a second to get it just right, but now you can see over on the right hand side here that it's taken me into my chatbot after scanning that code. So that's an idea of how that works. Yeah, it is a little cumbersome. So, but you may get some use out of it as a way to drive traffic to your bot. Okay, a couple other things we can do. Allow messages on your website with Facebook's page plugin. This is back on Chatfuel. So this is in the Grow section as well. So what's the Send a Messenger plugin? Basically, that lets you put a button on your website. So you can click that and pick a button size, pick a button style, blue or white. And they're giving you embed code here at the bottom. So you can copy that and then you insert that into your page on your website, and people can click to go right to Messenger. The other thing you can do is the checkbox plugin. You may have seen this. This usually shows up on a form field on a website. So as you're filling out a form, you get those opt-ins on the form. So you can say send a messenger, and when someone then clicks the submit button, they're going to get sent to Messenger. And once they fill this information out, they're going to give you HTML code to copy and paste in JavaScript code to subscribe a user to your chatbot. So good way to get a subscription going if you want to do that. That's that. While we're in here, there's just a couple of other things we can cover. When I talked about Facebook ads, there was this other Facebook ad format called acquire users from comments. I didn't go into it because it's a little more time-consuming and in-depth. But if people are interested in seeing some of this stuff, let us know in the comments, and maybe we can build a training kind of around sending traffic to your chatbot, doing things a little more in depth, and we can show you exactly how an ad like this works. The other thing that Chatfuel does is they actually create a landing page for you. So I'm going to copy this, open a new browser window, and let's go over. So this is a landing page. I don't know exactly how you'd use this, but maybe you're going to send people here from some kind of campaign that you're running. You can click here to chat with the bot, and that'll kind of load this thing. You still have to click a couple times to get there, but that's kind of a nice little thing that Chatfuel's added. So built-in landing page for your bot, which is kind of nice. And the other thing they've got here is this Ultimate Growth Guide. You can download that and or not download it. You can click through, and it's in their doc section. You can kind of read through. They got a bunch of ideas in there. I think most of them are the ones that I've gone over. There might be a couple of others you can look at in there. Let's take a look at the last thing on the list, number 8, which is botlist.co. And basically that is kind of a directory for bots. You can submit your bot here. Quite honestly, there's a lot of really crappy stuff in here. So don't know how great of a traffic source this is going to be, but certainly does not hurt to submit it. And I'm not going to go through the whole submit process here, but basically you can create an account here and submit your bot. So that covers driving traffic to your bot, and that actually finishes the entire training. So we hope you got a lot of value out of this. And now for the upsell, we had to do an upsell. So we know not everybody is going to go through this training and actually take the time to do it. Some people just aren't going to be comfortable doing it still might be a little technically complex for them to do. We also know that some people are going to be busy focusing on running their business day to day. And some people would just rather leave all the planning and creation of these things to professionals. And so if that sounds like you, then please talk to us if you need some help. We'd love the opportunity to work with you, and you can get in touch with us by clicking the button right below the video to set up a call with us. You can find time on our calendar that works for you and get in touch. And again, we would love it if you joined the Chatbots for Business Facebook group. Again, it's a new group. It's really small. We'd love to see you in there, and you can click the button below the video here to join that and get started. So please do that. And thank you very much for sticking around. If you have any comments or questions, please post them in the comment section on this page or do it in the Facebook group. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you got a lot out of this, and we look forward to hearing from you.